Hello and welcome to the first KEScast of a new year, a new decade in fact, and with a new year at KES comes new academic prefects. For each department in the sixth form, they nominate 2 members of Year 12 to be prefects for the department, and they just help things to run smoothly in the department. And this year, I'm glad to announce I'm joined with my fellow academic prefect,
Neve.
And obviously my name's Freddie, and we're going to be talking this week we're going to be talking a little bit about just what you will hear from us as academic prefects, what we really want to do, just a little bit more about us, so maybe you'll get to know us slightly more as a person.
Yeah, so carrying on with sort of familiarising ourselves with you, we wanted to start a topic of conversation about what you're reading at the moment. So reading's really important. Obviously, it's great to relax and for leisure time, but it's also great for education and keeping your brain going. So at the moment, I'm reading Edith Wharton's Age of Innocence, which is an American literature book set in sort of pre-1900s America, and it's written in 1920, and it's a really fantastic book uncovering society, and it's really good.
And it'll link in quite well with our
with
American literature topics that we do. With Gatsby
those.
and Grapes of Wrath.
Yeah.
And then at the moment I'm reading a book called God Is Not Great by Christopher Hitchens. Christopher Hitchens I think is quite a famous orator, particularly because he's so opposed to religion, and his very strong views on religion are definitely demonstrated throughout the book. It's an interesting read for me, particularly because I find myself a lot of the time agreeing with what he's saying, and as well studying philosophy A level, it's just quite a intellectually stimulating book, watching this man who's very quick and very witty intellectually, but who's also fiercely academic in his attack on various faiths and the idea of God. It's just a really interesting read, I think. I'll definitely recommend it for anyone who's interested in those sorts of areas, or even someone who's deeply religious, because I think it's quite interesting and quite important to read books with opposing views to your own, just to see how other people think, and then critique it, or however you want to deal with that book, you can then go and deal with it.
So now we just want to talk about what our aims are for this next year as academic prefects. So Freddie's going to explain how our KEScast will run and our hopes and ambitions for these KEScasts, and then I'm going to explain how you can get in touch with us to help come up with and establish ideas of how we can improve KEScasts and get more years involved. So basically,
how it's going to work is that myself and Neve will be hosting a podcast each week. It'll typically be recorded on a Friday, although that can vary if we have other year groups who need other lunchtimes, for example, to record it in, or just whenever convenient, really. And we're going to try and cover quite a large range of topics, and it's going to be a lot more regular in the sense where we've got a plan out for the rest of this term, isn't it? Yeah, we've got a term plan. And just trying to get as many people involved in the podcast as possible. So it'll be a lot more regular, a lot more formalised with who's hosting, for example. But hopefully we'll still be able to encompass quite a large range of topics by getting as many people in the school talking on it as possible, and explain how you get on it.
Yeah, so leading on with that, we want to create podcasts that are not only for sixth form, focusing on sixth form texts, etc. We want to involve some GCSE students, so getting some year 10 and 11s to talk about the poetry that they're studying, maybe some contextual ideas about the romantic poets, or any other interesting context ideas. I know last year that Nile did an amazing revision podcast for GCSE English, and I know that was really successful, so bringing that back would be great.
Mm-hmm.
Any sixth form students as well. So from my class, I've already made some plans about which podcasts they would like to do. However, any members from the other class that are willing to or want to help out with some, if they could contact me directly or Miss Barton or through your teacher, that would be great. And then to any people in a lower school that want to do a KESCast, we would love that. It'd be amazing to sort of reach out to a wider audience and to a wider range of years, as we've said. So to get into contact with us with any ideas or to be involved in a KESCast, if you could please speak to Ms. Barton, who can then pass on a message to us directly, or if you see either Freddie or I around school, then don't hesitate to ask and share us some ideas, and we'll be in contact about any podcast that you can help us with.
Alternatively, Miss Barton's email is ab@kes.net. So that's another surefire way to get in touch and get a response. And I think we've pretty much covered all bases.
Yeah, that's everything we want to say.
Yeah, the topics can be pretty much, if it's something relating to English, in that sense, then definitely get in touch and have a chat about it, because we're trying to get as many different as wide a range of topics on the podcast as we can. And there'll be a lot of people with very different things that they could talk about on a podcast, and we're just trying to spread it out and get the word out to as many people as we can.
And on a final note as well, with sixth form, even if students don't study English, that doesn't mean that they can't contribute. So there are many girls that came from my previous school who have an interest in Jane Eyre and talking about Jane Eyre in next week's podcast. So it'd be great for any other sixth formers that still want to keep in contact with English or just have a passion for a certain book to keep in contact and help us with KESCast production.
Excellent. I think that just about sums it all up.
Yeah,
Great.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much.